Thrones Tonight is filmed in front of a live studio audience.
It's Thrones Tonight with Ben Davey.
Tonight, Martin Lewis, Matt Eddleman, and now, Sir Blackwater, Ben Davey.
And thank you, and welcome to Thrones Tonight. As Matt said, I am Ben Davey, and tonight I'm joined by Matt Eddleman.
Hey everybody.
And Martin Lewis.
Hello, and welcome back, Ben Davey.
Thank you, I guess. Although by the time this goes live, I've been back by about 3 weeks. But
yeah, but how many people would have seen you and had the pleasure of?
Oh no! I mean, this is one of those as live. We're totally live. I've been back for 3 weeks. I've been streaming lots. Summerhall was amazing, Martin.
Yeah, I'm really glad I got to play and win.
I'm glad you guys enjoyed the videos. Been on the channel. Yeah, definitely.
The magic of television.
So this is Thrones Tonight, our kind of new show. It's not a podcast; it's a chat show. And yeah, we're going to kind of do it like that. So my first guest, obviously, you guys kind of already know Matt from the older in the cast, but we've not had Matt on before. So Martin on before even. I'm starting well here. Martin,
Hi, Matt.
How did you get into Thrones and what, you know?
Well, I used to go down the game shop in Aldershot for the RPG, mainly Star Wars.
Okay.
And I just misread a little advertisement for Game of Thrones RPG, so I took all my maps down and my books, and I turned up and it was Alec and James, and it was the LCG, and I was like, oh, good, I'm kind of glad that I got that wrong. Typical of me to get something wrong. And obviously just started playing with them, just the two of them and Ben Hunt, and then kind of couldn't get enough Thrones out of those guys because they were so janky, but I kind of like wanted to, be a bit more competitive, I think. So I ended up going to Reading as well, which is not that far from me, to play with George, Joel, and James. James is quite a bit, and learned quite a lot from them, and just really got the bug from there, really.
Oh, cool. And obviously you're doing fairly well now. You took down a regional this year.
I did.
Oh.
And it was George in the final as well.
Yeah, so the student became the master, you could say.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. I felt like the bad guy.
Why? What were you using?
Martell.
What version of Martell? That's Martell Wolf, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, you are a bad person.
Yeah. That's all right. They've been gelded now. Don't worry.
Yeah. There's been a bit of a shift, hasn't there? To say the least. Cool. So obviously you are now running Summerhall, which, as this goes live, the video has been up on the channel. Do go and check the playlist. There should be, I'm going to guess, 4 rounds of Swiss and a cut to top 4.
4? I don't.
Maybe 5 rounds of Swiss. 5.
The last, the first 2 are 5, yeah. But this is the third Battles at Summerhall. Yeah, looking forward to it. Should be good.
Cool. Okay, and of course, no pressure, but I really want one of those lovely playmats. So I might take Targ. Shh.
Nobody's seen them yet. Oh, mind you, everybody's seen them now.
Oh yes, they are. Oh yes, yeah, of course by now. Hopefully they've been on camera by now. Yeah, it's a lovely. I like obviously. If any of you, any future events you do live in the UK, do check out Aldershot. Martin does fantastic prize support. I think for going to this one alone, you get a whole set of house cards, which Martin had commissioned, which are very sexy.
By Paolo Pugioni, who is an AGOT artist.
Oh!
Yes.
So yes.
Can you remember any of his cards, Matt?
Paolo?
Yeah.
I know the name, but any of his cards? I don't know. I only know Magali cards, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Justin Massey?
That was him? Oh, okay. Okay. Paolo? Alright.
Valentine Harris?
Oh.
Aegon Targaryen?
Ooh.
Oh, blue-haired Aegon? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. Done a few. Time of Plenty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And also,
I just remember Magali.
and also there's other support as well. So obviously you got the play mats, which are made up of the house cards, which looks very nice, and you've got other ports. Obviously, there's normally other prizes, which just basically just follow the Older Shot Game of Thrones site, and you'll come across them when Martin's plugging it. But yeah, so it's the third one. It's semi-annual, is it? 2 a year?
Well, I wanted to do 3 because obviously there was 3 battles at Summer Hall, but it's a bit too difficult to put 3 into the calendar, so it's just 2. But there is one in the USA as well, so that can kind of be the third one, I suppose.
Okay. Cool. Okay. And Matt, just briefly, in case anyone doesn't know who you are and how you got into Thrones, do you want to just quickly update us?
The updated version of how I got into Thrones was that I first tried out the game back in First Edition around 2013 or so. It was just kitchen table Thrones with like a core set and 3 or 4 players. And I'd come from a Magic background a long time ago, and so I understand what things like kneel and stand and how to play resources and spend money and stuff was. But I really got into how challenges worked. And like once it clicked that that Thrones was about, I'm going to do my little intrigue challenge that I don't really care about to get you to kneel your big character, that also has a power icon to, set me up for my power challenge. I realized, this game's great. I love it. But with like 8 or 9 cycles, it wasn't something I was going to get into. But then I heard about the reboot and I thought, let's do this. This is great. And I dove in, and I've been having a pretty good time since.
I think that's a bit like myself in that initially I kind of bought Game of Thrones because I didn't want to have to catch up later. So I was playing Netrunner. So I bought the 3 core sets and was like, I'll buy the pack a month. And then went down to the local club and started playing it, and I was like, Netrunner sucks. I'm playing this.
Well,
Netrunner doesn't suck.
Game of Thrones came out, Netrunner was on the downswing because that was in, it was having its cycle 5, and Netrunner was going downhill very, very quickly. So I just, I swapped over and didn't really look back.
I think the technical term is they were pushing the boundaries a little bit.
Pushing the boundaries. Yes.
And of course, as we record this, obviously been a few weeks ago, but Matt has just finished TOing the Siege of Winterfell, which is the Scottish leg of the Starlock tour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how did that go?
Actually, it went pretty well. We had a total of 26 players show up to a very rainy Glasgow. That was really cool. We have the coolest venue where it's in the basement of a bar that does a lot of music. So all afternoon we're hearing like Frank Sinatra type tunes while we were playing cards. It was pretty sweet. Yeah, we had a good time. So it was there was a bar and there was food and drinks available for everybody. Lighting wasn't that great, but maybe we'll work on that next year. But everybody had a good time. It went very smoothly. As for the games themselves, I got to see a lot of them, and I'd say that the big breakout star of the tournament was 7 Gold Victorian Greyjoy. That guy was hitting the tables a lot, and he was. I saw him in winning board states. When games would end, he'd be there. So, if that tells you anything, he was. Yeah, that seems to be the where the meta is at. For your expert analysis.
Did Isian actually go with that list in the end? I know it was Isian won, but he posted a list up the day before on Thrones DB, which was basically like every 7 cost he could find, and as many like 1 cost cards as he could find to try and fill out the curve, I guess.
I haven't. If you put one up, I haven't seen it yet. But from when I glanced over at Ishin's boards, like he had all the 7 costers, at various times. He was also using Pinch of Powder, that new card with Raiders from Pike, in order to flash in pinches of powder. That seemed to be pretty potent.
And if you use it with the axe as well, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Yeah, I didn't see any axes from him, probably because he ran out of space.
No, he doesn't want the axes now, but it's definitely something that's, like I say, it gives you, it's the double-edged sword. You hurt if you do defend and don't win, and obviously if you don't defend and they win by 5, then you're having stuff sent back to hand.
Okay. I had not thought about that. That is,
and it can happen twice in the round. It's the intrigue and the intrigue and power, isn't it? With Pinch of powder. So it's twice in a round that you can do.
Yeah, it's a good combo, and it seemed to work for him really well. He ended up winning the tournament in straight sets, as I'll call it, to use a British term, the meaning that he won all his games.
I mean, technically in a tennis term, but fair enough.
Okay. Oh yeah. So it was a good time, and like I said, it wasn't all Targaryen all the time. There was lots of Greyjoy, and the Greyjoys did really well. And that's true. That's true.
Why is pinch of powder a weapon?
I don't know.
I completely missed that. Wow.
And this powder is not terminal. Powder is not terminal, so when you use it, it comes back to your hand, so you can throw it straight back out in your next challenge. And
God.
so you can use it in one round.
Yeah, because you have like a bucket of powder, and you throw pinches.
Yeah.
So the moral of the story is play Night's Watch, so everything's got no attachments.
Yeah.
Well, the moral of that story is if you can play Night's Watch and get somewhere in the 20s. Yep, number 20. He was playing Night's Watch, so you can you can do that.
I finished 20th, but I didn't get pinch of powders. Seems worth it.
Yeah.
If you're playing Night's Watch, though, just use the pinch of powder on your own Vince and get your Vince back.
Vince? You mean Gage?
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
I see what you mean. So
Drunk God Fanatic.
I thought you meant Night's Watch characters should be playing on their own Vinces. I was like, what is he on about? Of course, yes.
Night's Watch. Yeah.
Yes, of course.
But I was seeing that card be used a lot. Drunk God Fanatic.
It's pretty good. It's maybe too good.
It's fine.
Yeah.
But yes, a good time was had by all. There was some pretty nice alt art, and not alt art, but house card art, and there were 8 different kinds of candies for the 8 houses.
Oh, cool.
It's really cool. Lots of sweets of different colors.
I must say, next year if it's on again, I must look at whether I can get a flight from Bournemouth and come up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a fun time, and getting to either the Glasgow or Edinburgh airport, it's pretty easy, and there's lots of places to crash because we're all pretty nice up here.
Yeah. That's cool. Cool.
Hey, we're nice down here.
Yeah.
Well,
but I have to say, the most interesting plays I saw were from one Joshua Chambers, who was playing a deck that, get this, was entirely focused around triggering Jojen Reed as many times as possible.
Yep.
It was pretty funny.
He is a bit of a mad genius in some respects, isn't he? I remember Joe talking about a game he was playing against him, and he actually thought Josh had conceded because he just put his hand out in front of him, and he's like, "What the hell's he doing?" Then he realised he was playing "There's My Claim." It was the Stark False Banner Rose. So it was basically, and all he really had from the False Banner was Winter's Coming, and I think he had the box Santa because there's no other Stark characters, and if there's no other Stark characters, there's no real downside to her. And it's just like trying to get as much claim as possible for one challenge. That was Joe was like, I thought he'd given up. Joe still won it. I think the deck worked, but he always comes up with these just out there decks, and it's great because it's nice seeing these cards see play, which don't normally.
Yeah, I've never seen. I had to look down and be like, what is this card? Glass Candle. What does this do? Oh, okay, I see what it does.
that card has made Pillage pretty good.
So a fun time was had by all.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, should we get in the meat and potatoes of this episode? Which is, we're going to kind of speculate, I guess.
All right.
I love wild speculation, and there was a news article about 2 months ago now, but obviously there's going to be a slight delay in the next cycle, not coming out till March-ish. But this is going to be 4 agendas in this cycle. Which, for me, I love agendas. I think agendas make the biggest impact on the game. Because that is, how you make your deck. That's the first kind of key. If you're not thinking about your agenda, then you're not making the most out of one of the most important cards. One of the few cards you actually have a control over for the entire game. So
it's amazing how impactful a new agenda can be on the match as well, and how quickly that can happen.
Yeah, well, look at Wars, which basically took over the game for a while. When Reigns came out, Reigns had a similar effect. And then when you get counters, like obviously the counter to Wars was Crossing started rising up again. So, this is all the agendas, really.
Yeah, anything that just modifies the rules of the game, is always fun.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a great mechanic, and more agendas are more better. So we hear there's going to be 4 of them, and that's a lot.
Yes, that is a lot, especially when you consider like the first cycle had 1, the second cycle had 2, kind of meh in that they didn't really have that big an impact. Really, Kings of Winter, Kings of Summer, I think it's fair to say.
Right.
And now we're starting to get into the impactful agendas. Basically, I think since Reigns, the agendas have been quite impactful, in my opinion.
What agenda came? Night's Watch box.
There wasn't one.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah.
I think that's when I started playing. Was just as that box came out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't really feel the impact of Reigns or Crossing because they were kind of just there already.
Well, unfortunately, Crossing, when it first came out, impacted the meta for about 3 weeks because basically the Wii Night's Rush from Tyrell was kind of the main deck to use it. There were some other variants as well, but that was the main one. And then the next pack, First Snow Winter, came out, which completely nerfed that entire deck and pretty much killed Tyrell and Night's Watch for at least 6 months.
Right.
So that's ancient history.
Yeah.
We're about to hit cycle 6 here.
Yeah. We're about to hit cycling, which is not that far away, which is quite scary. Considering, say, coming from Netrunner, it seems to take ages to happen in Netrunner. And Thrones, it seems to not be too far away in the grand scheme of things. But I guess the first question is, what kind of agendas, what kind of design space are there for agendas at the moment? You've got a Shadows agenda coming. You've got the Reigns agenda, which is really heavy focus on intrigue. You've got the Sea of Blood, which is obviously very military heavy focused. Sorry?
Free Folk, which is aggressive.
Yeah, Free Folk's aggressive. You've got obviously then you've got some more I kind of call the fringe ones, which is you got the green sites. If you're running a pillage deck or a deck that wants cards in the discard pile, that one's pretty good.
The Control one though, isn't it?
Oh, Cahor's so Cahor's quite a controlly one. Yeah, I forgot about Cahor. I need to play that more actually. You then got the Faith one, which is I don't know. I've not really seen it in action, if I'm honest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Faith has kind of control in the kind of support. So with the High Sparrow and stuff like that, who you could possibly you'd possibly running in a deck that runs that agenda. Although if you're running Stark Faith, you don't really need to run any of those neutrals. It's just quite good with the characters they've got in their faction anyway.
Yeah, Big Cat quite likes that one, doesn't she?
Mm-hmm.
But the boobs and the stuff like that that you'd run with the characters in that agenda, they're quite controlling.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then you've got trying to think of other ones. You got the Brotherhood, which I quite like Brotherhood. It's not the best agenda, but I think it's just quite a fun agenda because it really changes the way you make the deck. Only being able to use the neutrals really and the non-loyals. Mm-hmm. And then I guess you've got Crossing, which is all about rushing, which I kind of guess is the kind of power game one-ish.
It's just doing challenges. It seems to be that was the first one. It doesn't seem to refer to a particular challenge type. And
I'd say it's probably more power in some respects, unless you're trying to go for like a kill effects with put to the swords and stuff.
True.
It's a great beginners or learners agenda because you don't have to think about which challenges should I do and shouldn't I do when there's 3 challenges there that I want to do in order to cross. So you can also build a deck that doesn't worry too much about your opponent's board, but just focuses a lot on your board and what you can do, especially if you're going first. So that one's always a good agenda for people that are learning the game.
I guess also because you have to do you have to do the challenges, and you also learn the order to do challenges. Like literally, like Matt said at the beginning of episodes, you learn to do that. I'm going to do a one strength intrigue challenge. I don't really care if I don't care if it goes unopposed. I don't care if I win, but you might care if I win. And it kind of teaches you that kind of method of actually having to think through. Right, the one I need to win is this one, so I need to do this one first. This one I care about the least, and teaches you priority. So I think that's a good point. Obviously, there's Fealty, which is actually making a bit of a comeback at the moment.
Very good for Greyjoy.
Very good for Greyjoy. I've been running a Night's Watch Filty deck, which is basically using Filty to speed it up a little bit, and that's been pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I guess what kind of design space is that? I should also prefix, guys, before we get into conversation for the listeners. We have, towards the end, we've all made our own agendas, which we will discuss. And I'm going to say they're not necessarily balanced, they're ideas, but it's stuff we'd like to see, and I think it would be nice to be play tested. So if you don't come in the comment section going, "Man, that agenda's broken," it probably is. It needs play testing.
That's the aim, though, isn't it?
Exactly. And it's just like stuff that we'd like to see, we think could be fun, so let's put it out there. And obviously, having done some playtesting for other games, you quite often get the fun stuff is horrifically powerful at times. And it's all about you. That's as much as that's the point of playtesting. So I guess I'm going to throw it to you guys now. What do we need? What does the game need right this second?
Ooh, Martin, do you have a good idea for this one?
What the game needs?
Yeah. What would be the perfect agenda?
Yeah.
Something to slow down the pace of the game if you want to slow down the pace of the game. Because there's a lot of support for the fast game.
Okay.
What about something to slow the game down a bit? An agenda that could possibly stop players gaining power from renown, but then there would be a downside to that possibly.
Okay. I could. I guess the Faith kind of has something. Does the Faith have something like that? Am I thinking of a plot? There's a plot.
Your players can't get renown, but I'm talking about all the characters that each opponent controls as well, and yourself, that they can't gain renown. But you would have to say you get -1 on your military claim on your reveal plot card or something like that. There would be a side.
So
Okay.
I think
maybe some sort of winter agenda representing that it's really difficult to go out and make challenges because everyone's stuck at home, stuck at home trying to survive.
Winter has come even.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe
You don't want to stop the challenges. I mean, we've definitely got plots that do that, but we want to slow the pace down of how much power can be gained in one phase by really fast builds.
So maybe then, because one of the problems I always had with Kings of Winter, and where I think what let Kings of Winter down was that really should be in the choke agenda, and it isn't. It doesn't choke economy enough. 1 gold maybe, woo, and it got very little support. I thought when the Night's Watch box came out, because obviously they kind of had a choke element because of mega contributions and the White Tree.
Right.
I thought they might get more support for this choke mentality. And it just never happened. We never really saw it. So maybe an agenda that just stops your opponents gaining so much gold. I know we kind of have this High Sparrow, but the problem is you've got to find the High Sparrow, and sometimes by the time you found him, meh. So maybe that could be the type of thing that you could be looking for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I know choke was a big part of version 1. Again, I'm not saying version... Well, from what I understand, I didn't play version 1 very much. I've had a couple of demos. But you hear a lot of players talk about how choke could just crush people in version 1. And it's just... Bar if you accidentally hit naval, it doesn't really happen.
Okay.
And naval's not a particularly great plot at the moment because so many people are opening with summer plots.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even something I'd run in a Martell Someone Always Smells deck, to be honest with you.
I did see on I think it was on Rob's Gaming Groomy, one of the regionals, a Martell Winter deck got to the final using Doran's Behest, the plot where you swap.
Yes.
Yeah.
And basically, he was looking for bait to try and hit Riddle or Naval to either hit their Summer Harvest. Or hit like Noble Core. There's a lot of Noble Cores in that.
What I find is, if you're playing Martell, you don't. Personally, for me, if I'm playing Martell, I want you to have a big board early on. I don't want to choke you. I want you to put a big board out so then I can reset you, and it's going to hurt you more. So never really was the one for me.
I can see that logic. Okay, fair enough. But maybe a choke agenda could be something. I don't know how you'd work it because we kind of had it with Winter, and I said it didn't really do enough.
Don't we need more support for Fish Whiskers and House Botley? Bit of stand for fish whiskers.
Bit of stand for fish whiskers. Yeah, maybe an attachment to give them the wilding trait so you can use the frozen shore.
Yeah.
Just put Queensguard on him.
I joke, but I was actually one nightmares away from winning a Sword Championship with fish whiskers, so you know. I do love fish whiskers. I was quite happy actually when I got my cards and put them in the binder. Went, yes, he's in the start box. He's evergreen. So kind of dabbling in here. So there's a version 1 plot event agenda I think we might see, and something me and Matt talked about, and I don't even know about it, Martin, called Dark Wings, Dark Words, which I think could be quite interesting at this point. So
so the first edition agenda.
Yeah, so it's a champ card, so there's a good chance we'll see it.
It's going to be good.
And it's you have to have 75 cards in your deck.
Right.
You can only have one copy of any event, in your deck. But every time you play an event, you draw a card. I think maximum 3 times per round.
Mm-hmm.
So
if it has a limit, then that sounds great.
I think there's a limit. I could be wrong. I was very bored at work the other night. I was watching the last ever version 1 Worlds Final, and the guy was playing Dark Wings, and he kept. He after 3 he wasn't playing events anymore, and he had little free tokens. Remember, so
okay.
I think that might be the limit. I've not got the card in front of me, so I do apologise, guys. But
okay.
So you're being rewarded for playing events.
Yep.
By card draw. Okay.
Yeah, but obviously you can't just spam. So you can't just go right. I'm just going to take like 3 Scene in Flames and 3.
Fair and main fair.
You have to take one. So there's a little randomness to it.
Yeah.
But obviously you're going for your deck quicker by using these, so there is a benefit as well.
There's quite a lot of neutral events now to fill your deck anyway.
Yes, and some pretty good events that probably just would actually see more play. So, for instance, one I thought about with that would be like Descent, which wouldn't be a horrendous card as a one-off at the moment.
Yeah.
Especially if it drew you a card.
Yes, exactly. So if it draws you a card and gets rid of a character, you don't mind so much, even if it's just like a reducer or something. You're not caring as much then if you're just drawing a card as well.
Tardhead.
So Tardhead, yeah. There's I think that and it's a world champ card, so there's a good chance we could see it this cycle. Okay. And we don't have any other than the new Sea of Blood, whatever it's called, Blood on the Sea, whatever. There's no real agendas around events. So that where this have a place, this could really have a place there.
Yeah.
I have to say that I'm really loving how Sea of Blood, the event agenda, is triggered off of winning military. Yeah. That's just cool to me, because you would expect that like Intrigue would be the event agenda, because Intrigue deals with cards in hand and stuff. But no, it's like I like how you win military challenge, you make things happen. In the world, so that's where they decided events come from. That's really cool.
Triggered off. If Sea of Blood triggered off the Intrigue, that would make Lannister really good.
Well, they could do with a boost. In all fairness, I hate to say it. But yeah, so
they have good military as well, so they probably will be fine with Sea of Blood.
I want to see the agenda in action. I think it does sound a bit one-dimensional. But I guess that's kind of the idea. But I don't like the idea of being restricted to only really military. I know you can get great like put to the swords and all that type of stuff, but it's a bit like I know people say Reigns is similar, that if you can shut down their intrigue, you kind of shut down the agenda. But I can't help but feel it might be easier to shut down the military.
So what we got? I mean, out the neutral cards, you've got Put to the Torch, Put to the Sword, and Fray Hospitality.
That's for win by 5 events.
Yeah, they're like the kind of like instant ones that you would win the challenge and be able to use straight away.
Yeah, I guess Retaliation? Not Retaliation, Relentless Assault?
No, because that's a faction card, Neil.
Oh, okay.
So you could go and grab Relentless Assault and use it next turn, but for this turn, you'd already nailed your faction card to go and search for it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think what they're going for is, someone was like, would you not so? from your deck.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and in all fairness, you know, watching Cahors just be able to go and find milks and bodyguards at will.
Yeah.
You know, it's not horrendous, although, you know, and I could see the logic, and I don't think it would be bad for the game. I don't know. I definitely don't think this is going to be bad for the game.
With Greyjoy, though, we were saying about fealty before with Greyjoy. I mean, they've got what looks like the most loyal family of big dudes in Westeros. So fealty feels like the best agenda right now for them. And the only reaction event for Sea of Blood would be We Do Not Sow. And that's reducible with fealty anyway. So, I don't know.
I just want to point out, you're talking about the most loyal family in there, where you know, the king's brother killed him.
Right, in Victorian, when we last left Victorian, he was like sure that Euron was going to screw him over.
Yeah.
I think Greyjoy want to be a bit more aggressive than searching for We Do Not Sow, but I mean, Put to the Sword would be great for them, but I still think fealty is way better for them as an agenda.
Yeah, I don't think Targ necessarily wants it, because then you can't Jacaerys and all the other challenges.
Could be good for the Blood Riders, but then again, you'd be losing the Rush agenda.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say I think there'll be some good decks with it, but I'm not convinced. It's not one of those. It's not one of those agendas you look at and go, that's for everyone. Everyone can use this and everyone can enjoy it.
Who do you think it's best for?
Stark probably.
Yeah, Tyrell Frey deck. Might of the
Frey,
Reach.
Yeah, maybe go back to like Lannister aggro.
Yeah, I think there's actually like some Lannister possibilities there, because I mean, if you actually look at it, Lannister has quite a bit of military.
Okay, so if you look at their events, they've got Tyrion's Chain after you win a challenge.
You're talking about like their events though. Yeah.
So that's coming straight in. You could trigger that straight away.
You could put to the sword after like the mountain's gone in and pillaged and probably killed someone.
Mm-hmm.
I think Lannister could have some good fun with that.
Could be good for the clansmen. Attack from the mountains, because that's a reaction to after you win a challenge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Although trial by combat, extortion, insidious scheme without his beard, you run any of those.
The other problem is isn't one of the best clansmen a faction card now?
Moon Brothers.
Yeah, they always seem pretty key when I was using. I don't know. I mean, things might change, but they seem pretty key when I used to run Clanister.
The new one's quite good. What's he called again?
The one that bounces them back to hand.
Jump back to hand to stand a clansman or Tyrion. Yeah,
they are pretty good. Can't remember the chords off my head, but I know the one you mean. Okay, so let's see about the again. Dive into my treasure trove of version 1. There's another, the last championship, world champ one, which was the Knights of the Hollow Hill. Now, I've contacted by many experts in version 1 about how you could tweak this to work in version 2, because it uses an ability that no longer exists. So, for those who don't know, Knights of the Hollow Hill is you do not get a setup. Yeah, so ready? Doesn't sound great. Your faction card, so your house card, sorry, I think it was. I don't know why it's your house card in particular, but your house card gains +2 gold, +2 initiative, and +2 prize. Now, prize is an ability which basically events are all free, and prize used to pay for events. So you might have like a location that was like a prize, and you like nil the location to play an event that needed a prize total, or nil characters, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So talking to the experts, they seem to think that you could basically go. There's a couple of theories. Kind of 2 or maybe 3 gold, because obviously gold's gone up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
The cost of character's gone up a lot. Keep the initiative at 2, and then the other one is either you reduce the cost of the first event you play by 1 or 2, or one of the ones I liked is you can restand your faction card. Once per round, you can restand your faction card.
I admit that is one thing I hope to never see any effect that stands your faction card, because that seems to be the one thing that's like you only get one.
But I also hoped that we'd never see something that could cancel plots.
This is also true.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, so Knights of the Hollow Hill used to be quite popular back in version 1, apparently.
Okay.
Because yes, you lost a setup, but you could, you basically already had like 2 Rose Roads in play.
Yeah, and I guess the ability to just go Valor for 4 gold on turn 1 doesn't seem so bad, you know?
Potentially. Yeah, there's a lot. There's it's a good plot to recover from your resets because you've got that. You guarantee that money. You can also play that Political Disaster and not care too much because you don't need much econ on the board because you've got it. It's there already.
Yeah.
So I think that would be. I mean, that one doesn't necessarily change the way you build your deck necessarily too much, but it's quite an interesting way of playing where you're literally going, right, I've got no setup. The 7 cards I draw are really important.
I don't like the idea of no backstory though. That's kind of quite upsetting.
I think it's based on something I'm not going to claim.
Just like because your setup is your backstory, isn't it?
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
There's a American dude, Johnny Wright, who came up with a similar idea. His agenda was cards cannot be saved, draw cap 3, plus 2 gold, and plus 1 reserve to each plot.
Okay.
Which sounded quite. I think it sounds quite balanced.
Yeah.
Cards can't be saved. Interesting.
Yeah, cards can't be saved, but the plus 2 gold and the plus 1 reserve, draw cap 3. Well, yeah.
Okay. But yeah,
I've run Martell decks where I've not been worried about anything on my board being able to be saved anyway. It's fine. There's something like that would probably be a decent Martell deck. The plus 1 reserve, and the draw cap 3. That's fine because with Dawn you're not drawing, you're adding to your hand and stuff like that.
And we're at a point now where you could probably run enough uniques as one-offs to still have a consistent deck, but also not care if they die too much.
Yeah, I hate drawing dead cards.
Yeah. So they're both all champ cards. There's a good chance we will see them at some point in some form. Obviously, they might change the way that they do them. The last agenda, which I thought was quite interesting, not a champ card, it's called the Long Voyage. So this is 85 cards limit. And, minimum deck is 85. Every draw phase, you basically draw an extra card. Doesn't sound particularly appealing. 1 extra card for an extra 25 cards in your deck.
Mm-hmm.
I have to bring Darwin with me to an event just to shuffle. Handle it on my own.
There was a Netrunner deck which ran 300 cards once.
Jesus.
But the only rule was you had to shuffle the deck by yourself. That was the only rule.
Unassisted, yeah.
But basically, there's a character which you start of every turn, you discarded the top 2 cards of your deck and drew one for free.
These are great online. These are great to play on the Iron Throne, but when you've got to actually shuffle.
Well, that's the thing. This guy won like a tournament. It was an online tournament, and when they said, "Are you going to take us a region?" He went, "God no, I'm not shuffling that." Which is fair.
Yeah.
So they're the version 1 ones I could find, which made sense. There's another one, Black Sails, which I know Ryan Wood's a massive fan of, but you need the naval cards, which is another type of thing.
Tell me about that one. I've heard of that one.
So basically, I'm not going to. I don't know how naval works, but naval looks a bit like Shadows, but except it's on like icons rather than on the cost. It looks like an extra thing. And I think you can move them into challenges or out of challenges. I could be completely wrong on that. But
yeah, so like if, say, Victorian Greyjoy had naval military, you could jump them into a military challenge.
So a bit like the Direwolf tech with the, the Winterfell, not Winterfell Steward, the Kennel Master.
Yeah.
And Nymeria.
Yeah, and Nymeria.
Yeah.
But
I really like the sound of this one.
So the idea of this journey, you've got 60 cards. You shuffle. Once you've obviously finished shuffling your deck, you cut your deck in half. Half of it becomes your hold, and half of it becomes your draw deck. Whenever you win a challenge with a naval character, you go for your hold, the face 30 cards. You pick a card and you put it to one side. At the end of the challenges phase, you draw all the cards you won.
Okay.
You won with that. So
It's like your bounty.
It is. The issue I would think with this is obviously the whole you lose when your draw pile runs out, which was not a version 1 rule. In version 1, that wasn't a thing. If you ran out of cards, you just ran out of cards. You just shrugged your shoulders. You couldn't draw anymore. Obviously, in version 2, That's a bit more of an issue. So they're the main agendas. Like I say, those other ones which are all house specific, and I'm not sure they would transfer very well. Also, I think version 2's done a good job of making brand new agendas as well.
Yeah, especially now that we're seeing the more interesting agendas that are created by Danny, such as like Sea of Blood, I don't know, Cohort. Well, that's more of a champ card, but he seems to be breaking away from the mold a little bit. Where early on we were seeing things like Kings of Summer and Kings of Winter, which would kind of nudge your deck building or nudge the game, but not really change it.
And the things I kind of agree with that design philosophy. You don't want to go nuts in the first couple of cycles because you kind of want to keep things. I mean, there wasn't like we're getting chapter packs on cycle 1, cycle 2, going, man, all these cards suck. They're still good cards, but now we're starting to get a point now where you can start pushing things a little bit. You can start pushing new themes and really seeing where you can explore the design space. So I think he's right to be a bit cautious to start with.
Got to push the counters as well, so it's not sided.
Yeah. Were we getting blood tokens this time?
Oh, that's why they did it, isn't it? The OP guys came along and went, right, guys, we really need a new counter for the store champ kits. Can you make a new counter type, please?
Well, we'd get them from Token Mania anyway.
Yeah, yes. The
thing I like about the Sea of Blood as well is if you are running it out of Tyrell, Paxter Redwine is another reduction, and he's a Master of Ships, Lord Admiral.
That's perfect, because it's also another reduction of events in the challenge phase. It's Silver Hairnet.
Yeah.
Can also,
Paxter, Silver Hairnet, you've got the Master of Ships, I like that.
Matt, I thought we had the intervention about Silver Hairnet.
No, that was after you left, so it didn't matter.
I might even play a Tyrell deck just to, play Paxter in a thematic.
Whoa! Let's not say things you can't take back, Martin.
I can always take back I might.
A might.
Yeah, but if this is recorded, Martin, people have this now as evidence.
That I might play it. I might.
Yeah, I might. I still don't get it. I think there's some really fun Tyrell decks.
I need to complete that pie chart on Jousting Pavilion somehow.
I assume you're just going to do free folk Tyrell.
George won't let me. He won't let me do free folk.
Oh, fair.
I will get the shame bell rang.
This day is fair. Brotherhood Tyrell with no Tyrell cards.
No, I want Paxter in a Sea of Blood deck. I want the thematic play.
No, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
So, are any other things we can think of, or do we want to go into our own ones that we've kind of thought of?
I think when it comes to interesting agendas that really haven't been explored, ever since Reigns of Castamere.
Mention Shadows.
Oh, the Shadows agenda. That's a fair point. So,
Sorry, could you put your saying, Matt? Sorry. Right.
Oh, what I was saying is that I think something that hasn't been explored very much that I thought was very interesting, starting with Reigns of Castamere, was side decks. Anything that gives you that lets you bring an extra set of cards with you that can only be accessed, when you perform certain actions. I think that could be really cool. Like, say, a side deck of certain characters that you could get into play for, somehow. I think that could be a lot of fun. Or a certain side deck of locations.
So isn't that like Conclave and...
Yeah, the Maesters.
Well, not so like that, because your side deck with Conclave is random. I'm talking you bring a side deck with you.
Right.
I'm going to play my 60 card draw deck, but then I'm also going to have my 10 card side deck of locations or of loyal characters or something, and an agenda that would tell you how to draw cards from your side deck. I think that could be really interesting.
I can see that. That could be quite cool.
Reigns for characters.
Basically.
Yeah, something along those lines. Yeah, maybe something for a Brotherhood of Assassins or R'hllor, where you have your side deck of R'hllor characters that you can draw from.
Yeah. One of the things I found when I was trying to come up with ideas, though, was I was looking at a lot of themes to base it around, like Shadows as an example, as a theme to base something around. The issue I had is there's a lot of themes that aren't very well developed.
Yeah.
That would make really cool agendas, or there's something there, but there's just not enough support for them.
That's why you provide support later in the cycle. You see.
Yeah, and when we come to my idea, it would need some support cards. You wouldn't be able to do it now.
Mm-hmm. It's okay. So will mine.
Yeah.
So you're fine.
You get a lot of these cards and then all of a sudden a card like Aegon comes out, and then Dario becomes amazing, and then all these kind of cards that you can stand that you weren't playing before. So yeah, even cloaks in Lanny Dragon,
There's
send for 2 and get 2 challenges out of them. Dario coming in.
It's a bit like you say, like Raiders from Pike, which is a card I think saw a bit of play when the pack first came out, and then kind of everyone went, it's only throwing axes and fishing nets, meh.
And now it's winning Starlick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, Brandon's Gift is the other one, isn't it? That's always the classic one. That's the poster boy of a card that everyone went, this card is dreadful.
I knew that was going to be part of a Juggernaut someday. I knew it.
It'll be like Cersei's Wheelhouse next. That would be the clear card that win worlds or something.
Yes.
What about an agenda that could once around blank a card except for traits?
Okay, so kind of milk on a stick.
A bit like a mirror, but in a way, it could be the Lord of Greywater Watch, so it could be Howland Reed's card. It could be like a reaction to the beginning of a phase. You kneel your faction card, or a unique character and a unique character. You could choose a card controlled by an opponent, and then just until the end of the phase, treat it as if it's blank.
Yeah, that could be quite cool. That's definitely something which would be less of an issue now. So it's one of the things I again, looking back through how things have developed, I've been thinking a lot about this. Is there's like a lot of agendas and stuff and plots, or more plots. Sorry, they're like really powerful back when the game first started because there wasn't enough good characters. Whereas now, cool. You blank my Sandy Randy. I've still got probably I've still got the Queen of Thorns or whatever, or Mars or whatever. I've still got some other characters, so it's a good ability to just go. Yeah, you can't use that guy this time.
You'd have to kneel your faction card and kneel a possibly unique character to do that. And you can do it in the marshalling phase if you're your first player to stop, to blank their arbor or something like that.
Oh yeah. Maybe like a start of a phase ability. I don't know.
Well, that's it. No, it's a reaction to the beginning of a phase.
Yeah. No,
like a Sective Baylor, but rather than just a character entering play, it's you will choose at the beginning of a phase to kneel something, your faction card and a unique character you control, or a character. I don't know. I'm just trying to say unique, so stop kneeling your one cost chud or whatever.
Oh right.
Yeah, I get
so
that.
Then blank something for that phase. Or maybe say if it's not a unique character, you could blank it for the round, but if it's a unique character, it's just for the phase. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
It's a good control agenda.
Okay, so a little more interference on your, you want to interfere with your opponent's plans. You're suggesting
blank
something
or Drogo, just to slow things down a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. You see what Master's going for here. Wants the game to slow down a bit.
I'm all about Blood Riders, so if I can't play Master, I'm not that fussed, but I'd like there to be a bit of balance.
No, I do agree, and you see the game goes in in ups and downs, and at some point winning in 2 or 3 turns is the way you have to win, and then eventually you can swing back, and you be going like 7 turns or so. It's the nature of the game, really.
The meta is a pendulum, and it's never still. It's always swinging from one side to the other.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I just had an idea for one, and it's kind of gone. But anyway, I'll tell you the one that I came up with, that I thought about. And so the trait I thought we did not develop enough, and I thought this agenda might be coming, but having looked on ThronesDB, there is very little support of this outside of Lannister. So, kind of taking a little bit of the idea from some other agendas, a small council agenda.
Ooh.
So basically, you can take small council characters from any other deck, from any faction, and you can use them. And I thought maybe there's you have some sort of secondary ability, kneel your faction card, and on a power challenge, all small council members gain insight or something like that.
Okay.
So something there'd be some sort of benefit because you've got in theory, arguable whether this is the case, you've got the greatest minds of Westeros in one room.
Yeah. It's a really good idea. It's a really good thematic idea, and there's like one event that supports that at the moment.
Yeah, you've got the one which stands them if they win, and I think if you win an intrigue by
After winning
5.
an intrigue by 5, you can stand.
And a lot of them are also a lot of the characters are also loyal, which doesn't help. So there would have to be some support for this. We'd have to have Eddard's fine because both his copies are non-loyal, but and you've also got the first cycle Renly would actually be really good in this.
Yes.
You're not playing Baratheon.
Yeah.
No, but you would be playing Baratheon, and then you use Renly's ability to recruit all your other small council members from other factions.
There's that as well, but obviously most of the characters are Lannister, and most of them are loyal.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah,
I mean,
a lot of
Stannis Baratheon, small council.
So you got Stannis Baratheon, you've got Renly, and you've got Sebaristan from.
Depending on where you are in the story, you've also got Randall Tarley as well, and you've also got Pax the Red One.
Yeah,
and
Pax but most of these characters are loyal, which is the way you're looking at the limited pool of characters you can move to other factions. So basically, you've got both copies of Fast Eddie. You've got not Fast Eddie. You've got you've got Renly and you've got Sebaristan because obviously Stannis is loyal.
Mm-hmm.
You've got I can't remember the Lannister ones off the top of my head, but most of the Lannister ones are actually loyal. So this is what I'm saying. You would just need to have a bit more support, I think. I'm just looking up now.
Kingsguard would surely be another thematic kind of like underrated. Well, we don't have enough, but that would be if we could build something more around Kingsguard.
Yeah, no,
I just don't think the Kingsguard, like Saboros Blount and some of the characters that have come out, it's very meh.
Yeah, the Kingsguard theme, it's a deck I've actually looked at recently, because someone I think one of my friends mentioned it as he'd not seen a Kingsguard deck, and he wanted to make new Jaime, or the box Jaime work.
Always good in draft. I've always I found I had a good. I think I got to the semi-final with Kingsguard stuff.
So
Starlet. In Joust, it'd be nice to have some support for that.
So here we go. So here's all the small council characters. You've got Varys, obviously. Box Tywin, obviously loyal. Stannis, loyal. Sir Kevin Lannister, who is loyal. Oh, non-loyal, sorry. But obviously his main ability works with Lannister cards.
Or neutral locations.
Or neutral, but obviously mostly Lannister. Obviously Sebaristan and Renly we've said. Qyburn is loyal. Mace is loyal. Littlefinger, Grand Maester Pycelle, loyal, and both copies of Eddard. So a lot of them are loyal characters, which is why I think you need some new versions of these characters.
Right.
To excuse the loyal, you could include loyal and non-loyal. I mean, you could just say that.
Maybe I don't know. I don't know if I want to mess with. I think that could become a bit of too good, because one of the big things with loyals, a lot of those are loyal because they've got insight, and I know we talk about giving insight with this ability, but obviously I know they're very against letting draw move from factions.
Yeah,
and I think that could be an issue. But yeah, that's what I thought of. I thought it could be quite. It could give you some very different decks because your big characters are from all over the place. All over the slots. If they work on it a bit more, you could have Eddard, Sebaristan, Renly, and Tyrion, because Tyrion obviously was the king of the hand at one point. That's your main characters. I know you can do it in Alliance, maybe, but this is more just working on that theme and also seeing that event actually do something. Obviously, I should also point out there is also Appointed, which obviously gives the trait.
Yes. Yeah, for use with council consent. Yeah. I like this idea because I like the idea of mixing factions and in combinations that you cannot do normally. So for example, with if you do a small council deck, you could theoretically have, say, some Tyrell characters, some Lannister characters, some Baratheon characters, and Eddard Stark all in one deck, and that could be a lot of fun actually if given enough support.
All uneasily sat around a table glaring at each other.
Yeah, and they're all sitting around a table glaring at each other. I mean, and keep in mind, you're forgoing your ability to play a banner, so your only out of faction cards are going to be, say, small council characters. That seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah, so I guess that's fair. Yeah, that's one because I honestly thought this was coming at one point.
Okay.
Because it's like, well, why they keep putting the small council trait in there, and then obviously you come to the realization after 3 years that sometimes these traits are just there.
They're just there.
They
were there because they were there in the core set, and they just keep slapping them on.
Yeah. So
I'll give him some text.
Yeah. Like House Florin, which that really, really, really good ability. Great. Anyway, Martin, what was your one?
Well, my one follows on from that quite nicely, possibly, and it's a bit of a homage to Louise, and also the card that deserved to go on the restricted list, which is Breaking Ties. This is Breaking Ties: The Agenda.
Ooh. Is that the name of it? Breaking Ties: The Agenda?
Just Breaking Ties.
Breaking Ties 2, The Agenda.
Yeah. Just like instead of saying part 2, it's The Agenda. What was Jumanji 2? What was Jumanji 2 called? It wasn't like, Jumanji 2, was it? It was something else. But anyway, so Breaking Ties 2, The Agenda. I haven't got a text for it, but the idea is you may include 3 copies of a loyal character from another faction in your draw deck. This character cannot be saved.
Okay.
So you could have some of the ideas that some of the members of the Reliable Players group suggested were Greywind in Targ.
Oh, God.
Sniper Mel in Drowned God.
Oh.
Drogo in Stark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this was your Pillage Tywin in Greyjoy.
Yeah, that'd be quite cool.
Shadows Queen of Thorns in Martell.
Okay.
And then you've got some of the just really good cards that you would like to have in your build anyway, that don't actually combo in any way, but like Vince and Wyman, they're just great to have because it's card draw and cancels.
There was the other one, which was it the Box Eamon in Martell?
Clayman in Martell, yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. And who cares about the fact that Vince can't be saved if you've got him in your deck? Because you don't want him to be saved. You want him in your dead pile anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
Your bastard daughters with him. Bring him in. Play your own first though, bring it back to hand.
Is it any character, not just...
This is the idea was you can have 3 copies of a loyal character from another faction in your draw deck. But it can't.
Single loyal character, okay.
Single loyal character. So or the other idea was, I think Aaron Glazer would prefer the idea that you could just have another character from another faction. So it doesn't have to be loyal or non-loyal, because he'd just like to have his Dar in Martell. Just Dar. None of the other characters, just his Dar. Which really makes sense. I mean, it's like if he was just a Martell character, but the fact that they can't be saved, which... I think that's fine with Hisdar, because a lot of the time I use him in, say, a Blood Riders build. I'm quite happily to see him go once he's done his work to get things moving. And it's like, well, you've not really got any strength yourself, and you're not doing too much for me. So you can go to VD. It's going to affect my opponent's board, and then I've got the pace now.
The other thing with Hisdar as well is if you did that, he could combo quite nicely with Tinder Marge, because obviously he dies. You go and grab another king.
He's not a lord. He's a king.
Yeah, he works for
she's
kings.
a lord.
Yeah,
Lord and king.
Works for kings. And then also you just close call him back, kill another lord or king, and bring him back into play anyway.
Yeah, it seems that this sort of agenda works really well with these engine characters, and we've been getting a lot of them lately, like Hisdar and Wyman, and I was thinking, Marjorie and Baratheon. That'd be tons of fun.
New Vic and a Baratheon deck, so you could use all the warships finally.
Use all the warships. That's true.
There you go.
All those lovely warships they've got, which really, really want someone to actually be able to, use them properly.
Mm-hmm. I'd love 4 cost Cersei in Martell as well, just to really hurt that hand quite early on. Yeah. But it's character, it's not a card, so you couldn't put like a loyal event into another deck.
Yeah.
But it would just, having big Cersei in Greyjoy, or, just because they, another 7 coster, why not? I just want to see if you could break the game with it. I think Greywind in Targ is the best one, though.
Yeah, just get all those characters down to 1 strength and kill them.
Targburn with all the different, Astapor, Stormcrows, Greywind dinner.
Plaza Pride to restand him to kill someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when you Danny.
I imagine the way to find out what the good combos are is you look at the results of any like 2v2 tournaments and you see what the good faction combos are.
I guess actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably someone to ask Whammer and the London guys who obviously they've done quite a few 2v2 tournaments.
Yeah.
100% record, hasn't it?
Yes, he's basically done every single one they've done. It's cool. Okay. Matt, what was your one?
Okay, so my agenda actually kind of follows along Martin's lines of wanting for some more control and a little bit of a slower game. So looking at since this is Cycle 6, the only card we know that is coming in Cycle 6 is going to be a new version of Robert Baratheon. They showed off the art for it as well. And yeah, so that tells me we're going back in time. We're going back to book 1. We're revisiting things. We're going to revisit things that we didn't really explore in Cycle 1. And I think there was one thing that was just not explored at all in Cycle 1, even though they were they were pretty important in Book 1, and that's House Aaron.
Yeah.
I think House Aaron would be Cycle 6 would be the time to start introducing some House Aaron effects. And so my agenda is called As High as Honor. It has the House Aaron and Banner traits for fun with alliances. And the thought of my agenda is to just represent the Eyrie. And the Eyrie it's the place where where characters can go to be safe and lock themselves away from the world. It's very difficult to be surprised while in the Eyrie. So I have a passive ability. It's card abilities cannot cause characters to enter play. So, you just while your opponent's characters are in the Eyrie, you can't surprise them, you can't ambush them. They just it's really hard to get to them. And then also, since the Eyrie is a place of safety, I have Interrupt. When a character you control would leave play, kneel your faction card to return that character to your hand, and move all power on that character to your faction card. Representing a character who needs to flee to safety can go, safe behind the gates of the moon, and they will be, it's really difficult to get them out, while they're within the walls of the Eyrie. So that's my agenda. It's about making a fair fight, and by not allowing flea bottom and all that ridiculousness. and also we have kind of an homage to Cycle 1, the Eyrie, where we have an effect that allows you to save a character from something like Valor Magulis, or any effect that causes them to leave play. And that's my idea. Yeah.
Now, so I did hear about this beforehand. I did have the caveat. I don't think you can stop shadows, because I don't know, that just cripples that whole agenda.
That's okay.
Entering play. So hang on. So Flea Bottom is still entering play. It's put into play. It's entering play, right?
It's basically barring the gates, but every turn.
See, barring the gates of the moon.
So that's why I said I think you might have to. The caveat doesn't work with shadows or something, because there has to be some sort of restriction. Because otherwise, I think that you just. I don't know. That's the way I say we've got to play test. These things aren't play tests. These are just ideas, and I do think it's very thematic. That whole, as you said, you're in a small mountain pass up to a castle on top of a mountain. You can't be surprised. It's you can't be ambushed, because.
What's the downside though? I mean, think about it. Like the Vale have never gotten involved in anyone's war, so maybe you just can't do military challenges.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Or reduce the claim by 1 of all your military challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking of what I was initially thinking of, but this would require a lot more text, as kind of a reverse opposite, an opposite version of Lord of the Crossing, but for defense. Like some agenda that helps you earn power while playing defense, but that agenda is called Banner of the Watch, because you can just
agenda, yeah.
But an agenda that does defensive stuff would be interesting, but it would also have like the it would also have the downside of like lowering claim on your offensive attacks. So maybe something along the lines of how the Faith Militant rewards you for winning a challenge, whether it's on offense or defense, but maybe rewards you for winning challenges on defense.
That doesn't
but
matter.
that's a different idea.
No, there's one other one I thought of, was where you do like Red Door, but with a character.
Actually, I'm gonna, since you mentioned it, if I ever win the World Championships, which I won't, but I have a whole agenda idea for the Legend of Azor Ahai. That would be that, where you would have basically, in the end, it would end up being Red Door for a character. But that's not for cycle 6, because that's not book 1. That's that's book 2 and later.
Well, I like the way that you've gone back to the start. I mean, that is the first line in the book is we should start back.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, forgive me for ignorance, because I am more of a TV show guy than a book guy, because I've only just got the audiobooks and I'm working my way through the first one.
I'm starting to think that FG are following the TV show as well, especially the Martell. Anyway.
No, the Sand Snakes are far too good for them to be following the show. There is only 5 books, isn't there? There is no. The 6th book is the one we're actually waiting on.
Yes, waiting and waiting and waiting
for,
and waiting.
Yeah. Okay, so that's why let's go back. I did just check, by the way. There is also a new version of Eddard, Tyrion, and Arianne Martell in the new cycle, confirmed.
Yeah, I really like Big Harry, but Pinch of Salt is just Big Harry for Greyjoy 2 times a turn now.
Oh yes, a pinch of powder, right?
Yeah. So that's kind of the agenda ideas. I mean, guys, let us know what you think below. Any you'd like to see, any you've come up with. I always feel, I said we're in a very interesting point when we're about to hit this new cycle, and obviously we've got city plots, which we could also talk about another episode at some other point. Which they're quite cool if you haven't seen them. I won't go into details because we'll probably set that for another episode. But basically, they work off how many city plots you have in your discard pile, and there are various effects. So they seem quite interesting. I'm not sure. I guess I think you need a lot of them for them to actually be any good, but they're definitely coming. So I always knew Shadows was coming, by the way, because the Conquest game also used Shadows.
Okay.
Warhammer 40k Conquest. They called it Deep Striking because it's 40k.
Well, that's the point that we didn't mention about a Baratheon player here as well. Is how good Red Ronet's going to be for Baratheon with the against the Assault from the Shadows.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he gets better when your opponent has stuff in Shadows. Personally,
raise the claim.
Yeah, he raises your claim on stuff if your opponent has stuff in Shadows.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of cards that require your opponent to do something in order to get good. So I'm not sure how to feel about that guy. But, I mean, if Baratheon's getting an effect that lets them put an opponent's character into Shadows, so that seems to be where they're going with it.
I do think when that agenda comes out, the Targaryen character, which the assassin, when he comes out of Shadows, look at a Shadows card as a character, kill it.
Yeah.
That might become a bit more prevalent.
Have you counted up how many Shadows cards are in already in each faction?
Not many.
Not many.
You've got the main Martell, Lannister, and Tyrell all have 5, I think.
Okay.
And everyone else is much shorter. So it seems like Lannister, Martell. I think that's what Martell are going to have to go with anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But Tyrell are going to be pretty good. Lannister as well. Those 3 factions are the ones that are going to benefit most. And I think, obviously, with them having 5 cards, I think Baratheon have got 3, Greyjoy have got 4. Although the Greyjoy Shadows cards, I really like them. Grey Ghost is really good. Yeah. Steel Rain's not so amazing, although it has the best artwork in the game.
The daughter's really cool.
Nighttime Marauders, Grey Ghost. These are tell cards. Please.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
But they're all non-lethal, so.
One of my issues has been so far Shadows. There's quite a few Shadows cards which don't need to be Shadows cards.
Yeah.
What's it? The new Stark one, Stagos, is it?
Skagos. Yeah.
That does not need. That has no effect. If it has no effect coming out of Shadows, it's almost like at the moment, why?
Yeah.
I thought
the same about Sir Archibald Ironwood at first, but if you're playing a reset deck, then you want to kind of put him into Shadows and then bring him in at a certain point. Garry's Drinkwater obviously is amazing, although he's very easily cancelled at the moment. But I mean, having those characters that come out of there, which you might not necessarily one to Marshall. Although, Archibald at first I was just saying, it's 5 cost, I'm just going to bounce him in with Ariane. But you do get the benefit from bringing him out of Shadows at a certain point to have a high impact on the board when you're going to lose Dom, and then they're going to have to kill a character which sets up your march or whatever. So he is a good Shadow.
On the other hand, the game already has ambush, for those sorts of effects.
And that's a great thing about Grey Ghost, because ambush, so what? You ambush your character, now I'll kneel Grey Ghost. That character you've just ambushed can't defend.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's also one of the other things, like, I know a lot of people, I've said it myself, when I saw the new agenda, I was like, right, I'm just going to run 2 copies of Bar in the Gates, and someone said, yeah, okay, cool, I'll just bring an attachment or a location out of Shadows that turn. Doesn't stop, Bar in the Gates doesn't stop that. So there are counters to it, and I can understand the logic of, of some of it. I know it needs to be seen. The problem I've got with that agenda is I've not used Shadows enough to kind of know what impact it would really have on all the Shadows cards. Does that kind of make sense?
Right. A lot of fun.
I've used a few Shadows cards as like useful tools. I've not kind of had that idea of a Shadows deck, which is what this is basically leading towards. What's
your favourite Shadows card so far?
My favourite Shadows card are probably the Night Time Marauders.
Mine got to be Cat's Paw.
My Cat's Paw. I used Night Time Marauders with First Snow the other day.
Oh yeah,
that was that basically won me the game single-handedly when he had no characters left because in his hand.
I'll say that my
sorry, go on.
I'll say that my favorite Shadows cards is it's not a card I've ever played, but I like the implementation of Shadows, and that's Mirror Read, because what Mirror Read allows you to do, this is what Mirror Read has is her ability leverages Shadows such that you can activate it over and over, but she has to kind of go, she has to leave play before you can spend money to use her again. That's something that Shadows can do.
Mirror of the Poppy, and she's very cheap to bring out again.
Yeah, one isn't it?
Yeah, she's one to bring back out. But I think Mirror Read is a great implementation of the Shadows ability.
Yeah, no, yeah. I agree with that. The one I've been most disappointed with is the Baratheon R'hllor one.
Oh yeah,
yes.
I mean, it's all right, but obviously the fact it doesn't combo with Mel.
Yeah, no.
Why is Shireen Baratheon a Shadows card? The new one.
I don't know. I don't know what Danny wants to do with Baratheon. I don't think he wants to do anything with Baratheon.
I don't know, because they need new themes desperately, and then it's not. They got the Knights, and I will be honest, I've been using some of the Knights. I only use one-ofs in a Baratheon deck at the moment to fill out the middle of the curve, which is what they needed, and the Knights are fantastic. But
Power Rush.
Sorry,
Power Rush.
Howard Rush.
So that seems to be like the best thing for Baratheon is gaining power quickly.
What's it Penrose, the one who stands when you win a power challenge, when he wins a power challenge? He's really good. The one that stands kings, or guy who so the one who stands people who gain power. They've got some really cool effects in there, but it's just not quite enough that they can do it by themselves. I don't think they really need to ban a Rose to make that even remotely playable. Which is a shame. The Bastard of God's great. Sorry, not God. The Bastard of Night Song is really good.
Yeah.
And the King at the Wall is one of the most fun cards I've played with recently since it came out. And pack, when that pack came out, I loved that card. That was a great pack. And
actually, I'd say the one card I wrote off, and I literally put it in because of the theme of the deck I was running, which was I was trying proper Baron Neil. Blackwater Bay, really good card.
Yeah.
Really good card. If you can get some good Anil effects going on, that you're drawing so many cards from that, it's just fantastic, really.
Okay.
But it's it's an interesting time in the game now. It's one of the things I love. I say agendas always shake the game up. Where even a bad agenda, at least it gives you like a couple of weeks of just messing around with it, making new decks. I tried to make a Faith Militant deck. I gave up on it after about 3 games. Because I couldn't get it to work. But at least it was like I was getting cards. I wasn't getting cards in my binders, playing all online. But I was making decks of cards I never thought I'd play with.
Oh yes, because the agenda is gives you something new to try. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's one more. So that's the big thing for the next cycle. I know we come up with some ideas, but they can just get some cards out of our binders that we don't use. That would be amazing.
Yes, like Baratheon Renly, 6 gold.
Yeah.
For the small council agenda. Yes.
I've used them in games. Thank you very much.
As have I.
I'd like to be able to use Spear Maiden again, but Aegon, Dario, it's suicide.
Okay.
Well, cool. Well, I think that about wraps up what we're here for. So, guys, do let me know what you think of the format. What you think of the intro music, which Matt very kindly mixed together.
Glad to help.
Martin for being one of the first guests.
Cheers, dude.
I can definitely say you haven't. I'm not going to name names, but you're definitely not on the ban list, like someone was when he came on the podcast once, and we never invited him back.
Did I listen to that one?
It's a very old one.
I must say, when Alec and James introduced me to the game, they told me about your podcast, and I think I went back and listened to like every episode, and so it was a big for me. And then I first met you in Reading when I played you and beat you.
You did.
And played Ryan in the final, and that was quite funny actually, because it was a very competitive play that he did. He was like, "Your Dom?" So I went, "Yeah." Grabbed my Dom and then what about my what's the red keep? No, you've took your Dom. I was like, oh no. Okay. Yeah, no, that was good. It was really good to meet you guys then, and it's been fun ever since.
No, that's cool. I'd say it's great. And guys, honestly, do check out Battle Summer Hall. I dare say this won't be the last one.
No, not at all. Two a year, and it is next Easter when we do one. It will be a River to Blackwater event. So if you win, you will get a buy for the first round of Blackwater.
Cool.
And so it's a River to the Road to Starlock event from next April.
A river to the road to the castle. A river to the road to the castle. Got it.
Is that a new thing? Is it the river event?
The River to the Road, yeah. We talked about it for a long time, and we eventually got it sorted out. And the Brighton charity event is going to be a River to the Road as well, a River to Blackwater. So I think it's good for the homegrown events if we do kind of stick together and link each other like that. So I'm really pleased about that.
Structure is good. Good structure. Yeah,
absolutely. I like the homegrown events. They're nice.
Yeah, that's cool, and it does remind me. There's other communities where they've done like Road to World events, where Bring Another Brit to Worlds. That was it for Netrunner, where they had all these community events around the country, and if you basically ever won the inclusive events, all these events pay for them to go to Worlds.
Yeah.
So this is kind of going to Starlet. I'm obviously not paying to go to Starlet, but I think I like the idea. It's something I'm quite glad they brought in. That's quite cool.
Cool.
But yeah, no, cool. Okay, well, guys, I don't know as much else to say. Thanks for. Sorry.
I can make one more thing actually.
Okay.
Anyone that likes playing online that would like to play online but not play against people that are kind of abusive and rage quit, and if you want a good game from a nice opponent, there is a group on Facebook called A Game of Thrones Reliable Players, and that is available to anyone to join. So yeah, check it out if you want to join that.
Are you trying to say people online can be not very nice?
There's a few of them. They're on a list. Many people kind of like abide by, but we also do tournaments like on Friday evenings and stuff like that as well. So I think, Ben, you've used to stream for us, and hopefully you'll be streaming again soon.
Oh yes.
I'll
probably do some commentary with you. And Matt, did you play in one? I think you did.
I managed to play in one. Yeah.
Did you win that one?
I did. I was playing your favorite, the Tyrells.
Yeah, I definitely want to be streaming. It's trying to find Fridays off at the moment, which has been the slightest.
Yeah, whenever. I mean, it's a relaxed format. We do it whenever it suits anyone, and we all get our drinks and we have a good laugh and talk on Messenger and that. So if there's anyone out there that wants to get involved, the group's there online. So come and say hello.
And there's some really good players in there, and they're also just really nice, and they're the type of people who want the community to get better, so will happily talk through. It's one of the great things about Thrones is there's none of this. Oh, I'm not telling you stuff. People want to help everyone because it's the friendliest
group. It's the friendliest Thrones group out there, I think. And we, as well as having really good players like Nima and, Tamas, we do, and, we do have like a lot of beginners, people that just join the game, and we support them as well and help them. And, I'll get up at 5 a.m. to play someone in America because they've got to talk about it and they need experience and, just stuff like that. And it's a really good, and I'm looking forward to Starlek this year when I can meet a lot more of these people that I've met online. Should be good fun.
No, cool. Well, yeah, do check. It's Reliable Thrones players, isn't it?
I can't remember. We changed the name recently. It's like a Game of Thrones online reliable players, but you'd search for it, you'd find it somewhere. Yeah. I'll give you a link if you want.
Cool. I'll put the link in the show notes. So guys, if you just look down below in the video, and the link will be there if you want to join the group. Cool. Okay. Well, again, is there anything else to add, guys, before I round up?
Welcome back again.
Welcome back, Ben.
Thanks, guys. Well then, that's the first episode of Thrones tonight. As I said, do let us know what you think. If any agendas you think the game needs, or an agenda idea you've got, please do link below or right below. I will be following up on these. We may come back to this at some point. And as always, thank you guys for coming on, and it has been emotional.